I talk about, the franchise model of how, with real estate agents of, you need to kind of build your business with that in mind, right? This system over here, this system over here, what's that process? And then your business can become system based and not so dependent on just you doing every little thing, right? If you do every little thing, you only can, like you said, you only can service so many people.
You could only do so much, man. I'm telling you right now. But I think a lot of times that when we're as guys or anybody, I think it's we have this ego that we could do it all. We're Superman.
Yeah.
I could do it better than you, this and that. And you start thinking like that. And then you're like, great, you can. But at what point have you reached your threshold, right? Your pain point. And you're like, I can't grow anymore. Something's going to suffer. Either your personal life, your social life. And I see it. I'm busy a lot, and I always think about work. And I think that what I try to do too in the beginning within the real estate world was I try to reinvent the wheel and try to do things my way instead of just following just there was road maps right there in front of me from the KW when I was with KW, great training program, right? I was there for 10 years. And then next one, but I always try to, I was like, I could do it my way. No, I go, and then I started hiring coaches, and then I started listening to them. That's when I became better. And I was like, they laid out the system. I just follow the system. You got to surrender to the system and to the processes that are already given to you. And then once you master that, then you could deviate and start making your own, right? Master what's they're given to you, and then just go. And then you could say, okay, now it's on. Now I could add a little here and add a little there. But don't do any adding and don't reinvent the wheel until you've mastered what your coach is or whoever, whatever team member, your team leader you're on with.
Yeah, no, I mean, spot on. So when did you decide to get into the business, into real estate?
When I had the painting business, I was about to get my license in Florida right before, but I didn't. Then I opened up the Subway. So 2004 to 2017, I had the Subway. In 2006, I got my real estate license.
Okay.
And in 2000, but I was part-time until 2017. It was always like, okay, I'm going to get out. I'm going to hire a manager at the Subway, and I'm going to get into real estate, and I'm going to do my thing. Nope. Once you have the restaurant, it's no shows, no calls. People were pulling you back in. I had to show up. The store was open from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. I'm there at 5 a.m. Sometimes I was there till 11 p.m.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really focus on that aspect of real estate when I had it. I had a lot of friends that were selling their homes, and I had this aha moment, and I was like, you know what? Let me just get my real estate license. Then once I got it, I was expecting those friends to use me. Like, who do they want? They want some dude slinging $5 footlongs to sell their $1 million home? I'm making fun of myself now, right? I'm like, no, I'm like, and I was pissed that they didn't use me, right? I was like, damn, I'm like, why don't they use me? I just got my license. They can't help me out. I said, you know what? Let me start working on this. So I started getting coaching while I was at the Subway, still getting coaching every year, getting a little bit of coaching. I was getting a little better at it. Then in 2017, 13 years at the Subway and having my license for 11 years, real estate license for 11 years, and I was part-time, I decided, you know what? I'm going to sell the store. I'm going to go into this full-time. I bet on myself. I said, you know what? I'm going to bet on myself. If I apply the same effort into real estate and working 70 hours a week in the restaurant, I'm like, there's no way I can't succeed. There's absolutely no freaking way. So I said, I burned that boat, man. I said, you know what? I'm selling it. And I made that decision. I said, now I only have one option. I have nothing else. I have no other income coming in. I said, what do I do? My father-in-law goes, don't worry. He's like, at that time, he's like, don't worry. And he goes, give it a year. And then after that, I'll give you a couple $100,000 to run the gas station property. I was like, no, I think I'll make more. I said, he goes, okay, just give it a year and then come back to me. I'll give you the option. And they could run because the gas station, the Subway, and we had the whole property there. Then I had a chicken restaurant there too. And he's like, I think I'm good. And so people doubt you because it's an all commission job.
Yeah.
But what they don't realize is that there is no limit. The limit is you.
Mm-hmm.
Our minds are limitless if your mind is limitless, right? Yep. And I tell people, and a lot of times it is when I don't want to wake up in the morning, I tell them, I go, you know, when I show up, the money shows up.
Yep. Yep.
And all because some days you don't want to work, you don't have the energy, but just show up. Just go and show up. Do a little bit. Just make your phone calls, do some lead generating, do something. Because once you start, you're gonna have a little bit more energy. Just like going to the gym, right? Just show up, and then you're like, okay, now I'm running. I feel good about myself. But it's just that the idea of going and getting up and going to the gym or going, I'm like, I don't feel like making calls today. I just feel like just chilling. Nope, not me,
Yeah.
man. You know what? So I'm like, you know, so I said, I'm going to take this opportunity and I'm going to bet on myself. And I did. And I just try to show up every day. And some days I don't, and I regret it. It's like that. You need that discipline in your life to show up. And that's what people, it's not easy. It's not glamorous like $1 million agent and all that. People
Yeah.
think it is. No, it's not. I mean, there's times when we try to look the part, we see beautiful homes, yes.
Yeah.
But you got to, people don't realize the first 3 years in the business, you got to grind it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to, I mean, you said, you know, bet on yourself a couple times. And I just had that conversation with a brand new agent. They've been licensed since March. And I said, look, you know, at the end of the day, if you believe in yourself and you know who you are, you know, if you have the work ethic, you will succeed in this business. I tell
Yeah.
agents all the time, at the end of the day, we could probably work 2 hours a day if we just hyper focused on prospecting, and you would make a ton of money and hit your goals. Problem is most agents, you know, we're all humans. You know, we come into the office, you know, we do it for 30 minutes, we get distracted for 45, and then we're on, you know, social media, and then we talk to someone at the office, and then we go back to it, and then we're like, oh man, I just worked 10 hours, right? You know,
You
and I
didn't
was
work
like,
10 hours.
yeah, but if we just literally, I tell agents, come in every day for 2 hours, we're prospecting, and then you leave, that's a successful day, even if you have nothing else going on. You know, that's the flexibility of our business that a lot of us forget about is, but knock out the things that are going to produce the income and then go do whatever the hell you want to do. But I think you're right. You know, you knew you could put in the work, you know, from running the restaurant. That wasn't ever, you know, in question. You know, but betting on yourself that you're actually going to show up day in and day out, even when you don't want to, is key for a lot of agents that are finding success in this business.
So, and I think another thing too is what I realized is that whatever shows up in your outer world, right, is a reflection of your inner world, right? And a lot of times, a lot of people have like self-limiting beliefs and doubts about themselves. And I think Mike Tyson said it best: you have to be a doubt annihilator, and just
Yeah.
like literally just take those doubts and annihilate them from, like, you know, being fearful about the phone and talking to people, and just doubting yourself. Because I think people, it is human nature, because we tend to take the path of least resistance
Yeah.
all the time, right? We're like water, electricity, and all that stuff. Like if we're human nature, we're part of nature, right? It's what's gravity doing? It's going down, right? And that's the easy thing. What's going to hold it up?
Yeah.
So water goes down, electricity takes the path of least resistance. Humans do the same thing. Whatever's the easiest path, we're going to take. But when you realize if you take that little bit, that path that's going to be more challenging and more fearful, that's the path you should take, because that's the path that's going to lead you to success, right?
Yeah.
So it's, to me, it's all about your inner work, because if you feel good about yourself, if you love yourself, you're going to exude that, and that energy is going to come out, and people are going to be attracted to that. Then you become a magnet to everything. But it all starts with one thing, and it starts with a thought. You
Yeah.
have to think you are. If you don't think you are, you're not. You're not
Yeah.
going to become it, man. It's all a thought. Like everything started with a thought. Like